folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're going to be baking bacon. Now, I like the sound of bacon sizzling in a pan. Love the way it makes the kitchen smell and stuff. But if you've ever made bacon for a really big crowd and you're making it in a frying pan, you know what a huge mess it makes, and you get burned all over. And it just takes forever. So instead of doing it in a pan when you're making it for a big crowd for breakfast, or if you're making BLTs or whatever, lay it out on a cookie sheet. There's a few tricks. You do want to lay it with the edges touching, and thicker bacon tends to work a little bit better. The thin stuff will burn really quick, and if you've got thin stuff, you're probably only going to be cooking it about 3 or 3.5 minutes per side. Now this is market bacon, and it actually came out of the meat department of the store, not the refrigerator department, so it's pretty thick. I may have to cook it up to 9 or 10 minutes per side. Regular bacon that's in the refrigerator section and packaged, you're probably looking at about 7 minutes or so per side. But you want to preheat your oven to 350. Definitely want to start it in a hot oven and just keep an eye on it. You cook it halfway through, take it out, and then we're going to flip it and put it back in. So let's stick our bacon in the oven, and we'll be back in a few minutes to check on it. Okay, my bacon has been in there. This has actually been in for about 12 minutes, but like I said, this is really thick bacon. Now, you do want to make sure the cookie sheet that you put your bacon on has an edge, because you can see there's quite a bit of grease in here, and if it doesn't have an edge on it, of course that'll run out all over your oven. But you can flip it with a fork or tongs or whatever you normally use, and it's going to go back in. And this is probably going to take about another 10 or 12 minutes. You would not need to leave regular bacon in quite that long. But it is super thick. You also have to be really careful taking this in and out of the oven, because it is on a cookie sheet, and if you tip it just a little bit, you know, that grease will spill. And you definitely don't want to spill bacon grease on you. Even though it's in the oven, it's still hot bacon grease, just like what you get in a frying pan. Okay, now I'm not going to turn this again. I'm going to leave it in the oven and keep an eye on it until it's crispy and done. And I do like my bacon crispy. I don't know why in the world anybody would eat chewy bacon, but I know some people don't like it as crispy. So you just leave it in there until it gets to the point where it's as done as you like it. So let's put it back in there and let it cook for a while longer. Okay, my bacon is finally done. Now, my pan has a lot of grease in it. And when you take this out of the oven, when it's done, you want to be very careful. I am using 2 pot holders for this because I don't want to tip it. I'm going to get it on both sides, not just at the corner. I remember when I was a kid, one of my mom's sisters spilled a pan full of bacon grease on her legs. And it took her 2 years to recover from that. She could not wear any kind of pants on her legs for 2 years because the burns were so deep they would not heal. And you can see there's a lot of hot grease in here. Now you want to take this out of the pan and put it on a plate covered in paper towels and let that grease drain off. And you can also see how nice and flat all these pieces of bacon are. And this is a great way to prepare bacon, like I said, for BLTs or for any kind of sandwich that you want to put bacon on, because the pieces do come out nice and flat and straight. The thin stuff, like I said, you really have to keep an eye on it because it will burn fast. But be careful with that grease when you're cooking it. You really don't want those kind of burns. And definitely watch kids around bacon. But the next time you've got a crowd for breakfast and you don't want to spend 2 hours over a frying pan getting popped with hot bacon grease, stick it on a cookie sheet and stick it in the oven. Like I said, it's much faster, much easier. You don't get popped and burned. I don't have a single burn anywhere on my hands, which is nice. And it really doesn't pop in your oven and make a big mess like it does when you have it on the stove top, because the grease doesn't get as deep as it does when you cook it in a frying pan. You've got the bacon all spread out, so you don't get the really deep grease and you don't get the really big pops. We appreciate y'all joining us in the Hillbilly Kitchen. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.